Rob Green.
What? Hello, welcome. What are you on about? Like Clive Tilsey and Rob Green. What do you mean?
Who did the commentary?
Oh no, there was a female commentator. She was really good, actually. Really, very, very knowledgeable. I was impressed with her. So, hello, if you've just tuned in, this is Instant Match Reaction. Liverpool have just beat Inter Milan 2-0. I can't actually believe it because most of the way through that game I was like, I had my head in my hands. But we've done it. What a gang of lads. What a special gang of lads. Joining me, Paul Dalglish. Great to see you, mate. What did you think of that game? Just give me your instant reaction, your feelings, how you feel after that.
Sometimes you go into these European games and you're thinking, oh, you're going to see a performance like you see in front of the Kop with no travel and things like. I thought it was a really, really, really efficient European performance. We weren't at our best, but we didn't need to be. And we're competing on all fronts, and to be able to put in a professional performance like that. And I know you're going to say it was close. They hit the bar in the first half, but not much else, Gav, to be honest. And even if you look at the XG from the game, we've got 3 times the XG that they had.
That's interesting.
We were the better team for sure.
They had a good spell at the beginning of the second half, didn't they? It was a good 10-15 minute spell where they were putting us. Their midfielders pressed our midfield like unbelievably.
They almost went man for man because the same thing happened against Burnley when Burnley played with 2 forwards. They played with 2 forwards as well, and normally when they put Van Dijk under pressure and when they put Konate under pressure, it was massive against Burnley. Then it's harder to get your rhythm. When the first line of your build-up is getting pressure on them. So it's maybe something that we can look from the last couple of games. Maybe we need to drop a midfielder in or keep tuck a fullback in to try and create an extra man in the build-up. But it was they almost matched us up. If you look at the position, if you look at the positions that they had of Perisic and Dumfries, they really went high. So they almost left 3v3, and I think at times we were trying to play through the pressure, which is the way we play. But you look, if you're leaving Salah, Mane, Jota, and then obviously when Diaz comes on and Firmino in half a space against their 3 centre-backs, sometimes you've just got to play the percentages and take the 3v3. I know it's not really what we do, but I'd fancy our front 3 against any 3 defenders that were left there with that amount of space.
I'm too emotional when I watch the game, and I end up like watching the ball rather than the tactics. And I do try and I make some notes, but it seemed to me like our front 3 for a large period of the game until we got the goal, because the goal really came against the run of play. Yeah. We weren't holding the ball up, and Bobby came on, I assume, because Jota wasn't holding the ball up, and then Bobby came on and was losing the ball. And it just kept coming back us.
They were always under pressure. It was, if you look at it, they played in a 3-5-2. So the 2 forwards went against the centre-backs. The wing-backs pushed up on the fullbacks. It wasn't always like that, because sometimes one of the midfielders would drop into a fullback position. But Dumfries especially was being really, really, really aggressive in pressing. And even defensively, he was coming inside a lot as well. So I text you during the second half. I was like, we've got so much opportunity if we just keep our left winger wide, or even if Robbo went and stood out there. Because what was happening was, because Dumfries was being really aggressive when he was defending, Skriniar was getting dragged all the way across into wide areas, and that was isolating the other 2 centre-backs against people they don't want to be isolated against. So when they went man for man, it's about moving the players. You can do 2 things in football, Gav. You can move the ball, but you can also move the opposition with your movement. And I thought in the second half, I think when Diaz came on, he stayed wide quite often, and it really spread into out and gave us gaps to go through.
I thought, what did you think? I thought Fabinho was absolutely outstanding in the first half, but in the second half, he pulls him off after 10 minutes. What did you think of that change?
Well, it was an hour mark, wasn't it? So, what you don't know is what goes on behind the scenes. Maybe he was always only going to play an hour because there's 5 subs, and what they do is they look at chronic load and they look at how many minutes he's played over the last few games, and when players start entering, they call it the red zone, then rather than push them through the red zone, they'll take them off. And I think that maybe some of them were premeditated.
Okay. We've got a few. There's a gentleman called Norman who's watching us on YouTube. He's asked the question. He said, "I feel like Virgil is starting to look back to his best." Is that something you saw tonight?
I just think he's just bigger than you. He's stronger than you. He's calmer than you. He's just the best defender in the world, best central defender in the world. There's nobody even close. And it obviously, after he's been out for 6 months, even if you didn't have an injury, if you've not played football for 6 months, it's going to take you a little bit of time to get back to the level. But everyone's looking at him to say, well, is he back yet? I've not really seen a performance where it was like, he doesn't look the same. Yes, it takes a little bit of time to get back, but I've never really seen, just seems to be a narrative that people don't expect him to be the same because he's coming back from an ACL. But I think even if you look at it and you go, okay, because both of our fullbacks go, we put so much pressure on our centre-backs because we leave them 2v2 at times, especially in the Burnley game and the game tonight. We left them 2v2. But even the ball goes over the top, Dzeko tries to run and Van Dijk's just like, who are you kidding? You're not going to run past me.
Sling your
Alisson, I mean, yes, I think when you play against two strikers, you're always going to get stretched a little bit more. But if you look at the three centre-backs that play out of ours, and even Gomez as well, they're so mobile. They can defend big spaces so well. And I get so annoyed when the announcers are saying, or commentators are saying, Liverpool have such a high line. Of course they do. That's so that we can, it's pros and cons. We have a high line because our centre-backs can cover big spaces. And also that makes the distances for our midfields and our forwards that they have to defend smaller. So it's their energy for the attacking side. So, yeah, it is. You can't play a perfect game of football, but a high line is what we do.
It takes a lot of courage to play like that, doesn't it? Let me ask you about. I mean, I know you're massively into the press, our press, and you've analysed it and everything. They at times beat our press. At times, I felt they were lucky because they got away with it. We pressed and they were very close to giving the ball away, and they didn't. I noticed something. Mo Salah in our press, certainly in the first half, was very, very narrow. He took up a very central position. Did you notice that, and why do you think that would have been?
Yeah, they try and show inside. That's the Liverpool try and show inside. I know, regardless of what they're playing against, they always try and show inside because the thought process is that, and Jurgen said it in interviews that counter pressing is better than any playmaker in the world because what he says is that they want to take the chance to show inside even if the opposition have a numerical advantage, because what he says is that when a team's attacking and are in the build-up phase and they're at the most expansive, you've got more gaps to go through them in the transition moment. And also if the ball is central when you win it, then you've got a shorter distance to go to goal. So for those two reasons, Liverpool always show inside. And the problem, not the problem, but when you're showing inside against a 3-5-2, they've got good numbers. And it becomes the role of the nine, the attacking centre forward becomes really, the defending centre forward becomes really difficult because you've got a centre back there and you've got a holding midfield player there. And it's, how do you deal with that? If you drop your nine off to pick up the holding midfield player, then the centre back's free. If you push your holding midfield player up to deal with their six, then one of their forwards can drop in behind that space. So it does cause a dilemma, but Liverpool are so good at it that they take that risk.
Part of this, Bostoni was very wide, wasn't he? Certainly in the second half, and he was getting the ball a lot. They were chipping the ball over to him. That was working for him.
Teams that play a back three, they attack, they build in a back four. So what you were seeing Bastoni going to a left back position. De Vrij was going to a left sided centre back position. Skriniar was right sided centre back, and then Dumfries was bombing on. So that there's a lot of teams that play in a back three that build in a back four. So yeah, that they did that, and I've not watched Inter too closely this year, mate. In fact, I've probably not seen them play a league game this season. I don't know if it's something they do regularly, but it was certainly something that they were doing, basically tilting the formation to make a back four in a building.
Well, we've spoken quite a lot about Inter Milan. Let's talk about our boys. What particular things pleased you from our performance during the game?
Just control, Gav. It's just control. I mean, if you look at we all want to see, heavy metal football as Jurgen calls it, but it's not always possible. Like maybe I'm a little bit more thoughtful of it, but when you get on, even though these guys, they turn up at the airport, they drive to the airport, they go straight onto the runway, they get on the plane, a bus meets them at the airport and they get off, they're still on a plane for over 2 hours flying to Milan. It's a 2-hour flight. And when you're at altitude, the pressure, cabin pressure, it does fatigue you. I mean, when you come off a flight, sometimes you feel tired. So there's a massive correlation between the performance after an away European game because of the fatigue of the flight there and the flight back. So I think people say, oh, we didn't really look as sharp as we have, but there's a reason for that. And what I felt was, I just think it was a really, really comfortable performance without being exceptional. If you take away them hitting the bar, which was an unbelievable strike in the first half, they had the header from Dumfries in the second half from the set play, but they didn't really, Gav, at any stage hurt us too much. So it was really, really, really professional away game, and that's what you want. We've always, the sign of a great team is you don't have to play well to win. The easiest way to do that is if you keep clean sheets. Okay. And against in two totally different situations, away to Burnley, which is a challenge in which, with all due respect, shit weather, with wind, rain, 4-4-2, Burnley going vertical, and then 2 hours on a plane, away in the San Siro, two really, really professional performances.
Just looking at the comments, Barra 05. We had Barra had a question for your dad, and I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing his name right. But he's asking, what did you think of the subs' performance when they came on?
How do I know?
Hey,
I've not spoke to them.
No, what did you think of the subs' performance when they came on?
He's got a question for your dad.
No. What do you think of the sub? No, what I said was he had a question for your dad. We answered during the dad's Q&A.
All right.
So right. I recognise his name because it's unusual. So his question tonight to you is,
Gav, you know what I mean? Just be a little bit clearer when you.
Well, just listen to me, and then we'll be all right. What about the subs tonight? Did he change the game? Did you agree? Do we need them?
We did against Burnley as well. I thought when Thiago came on, we had composure. I think that Diaz came on and gave us a real spark. And he, as I said, when Mane was playing, he played really narrow, tucked in on the left-hand side. And when Diaz came on, he played a little bit wider. And it stretched out their back five. And as I said, the byproduct of that is that now there's gaps to run through. Naby Keita was excellent when he came on as well, as was Jordan. And Firmino, to be fair, that goal is an impossible goal to defend because the ball comes in. There's nothing you can do. If you get in front of your marker, there's no way that you can stop that because you can't defend from behind if the ball goes over your head. So he's got in front. He's flicked it on. It's an impossible goal to defend and a really, really hard. So, yeah, I think that's the one thing. I think when you bring in Diaz, you've brought Jota in. He gave us that last year. You've now got everybody fit. Harvey Elliott's fit. You've got Naby Keita. You've got Oxlade-Chamberlain, Fabinho, Henderson. We really can pick. We can't get Jurgen's at such a luxury that he can't get it wrong because whichever 11 he picks is going to win it, is going to compete to win the game. Not always going to win, but they're good enough to win the game. And then obviously when the subs come on, they want to start the next game. So the competition for places is proven that all or most of the subs that are coming on are having a real impact.
A little word about the fullbacks. What did you think of their performance? Andy Robertson was super aggressive in that first half, wasn't he?
Well,
He
I
was
think
really getting stuck in.
defensively, we started, and I thought, oh, we're going to go for it here because we were pressing really aggressively and trying to intercept and get on the front foot. I think on the attacking side, I think almost Trent and Robbo sacrificed themselves a little bit because you can look at things two ways, right? So if they bomb on and they pin the wing backs back, then you put them into a back five, and then they're harder to break down. By them being deeper in the build-up, they might not be as effective in the attack, but that sucked out Dumfries and it sucked out Perisic. And now it created space, spread out their back five into a back three, and now it created space down the side. So I think it was probably a bit of an instruction to be a little bit deeper tonight, to try and stock out the wing backs and then play in the space behind them. You didn't always see it, and sometimes you can have a plan, Gav, and you can come up with a plan and it doesn't happen. But you can maybe that was the intention.
Overall, in the context of the tie, what do you think? What are your feelings? Obviously, they've got to come to Anfield. We're 2-0 up now. There's no away goal rule now, so it's irrelevant. It's game on. I don't want to say
it's over, Gav, because anything can happen in football, as we know. We've been on the good side of it many times, but you can also be on the bad side of it. But it's a very difficult proposition for them coming to Anfield if they were 2-0 up. Never mind 2-0 down. So we've put ourselves in an unbelievable situation to progress.
And Leslie, man of the match?
I don't know, mate. I think, as you said, the subs, maybe the collective effort of the subs when they came on really gave us a spark. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I don't think there was anybody that you can really single out, can you? To say, oh, they were standout today. It was just really one of those where away from home, European game, grind it out, get the 3 point, get the win. Sorry, not 3 points, not in the league. It's not the league anymore. It's the 2 legs. So get the win and head back. So I think it was more a collective effort, Gav, to be honest. It's not my team, so normally you wouldn't single out individuals, but I genuinely would if I thought there was one, but it was more of a collective effort.
Yeah, you're happy, yeah? You're feeling good about it?
Well, I'd like to think so, Gav. It's you can't do much better than that. 2-0 up on an away game.
Do you think this is an opportunity for us to shamelessly promote our new Bobby Firmino shirt, which has just gone live on Twitter?
It's just gone live?
Yes.
I thought you said that you couldn't get ready in time.
I'm a magician, mate. So it's now on the website. So we have a new number 9 Bobby Firmino t-shirt. Get yourself on Twitter. Get to ken7.com, and you can buy it. It's literally gone online minutes ago. While I was sat here.
Well, it'd be nice for you. It'd be nice for you to be wearing some of the gear, Gav. You know what I mean? What's that you've got on?
This is All Saints, this, mate.
Right.
Yeah, I'm there. Let's see that I'm there. Anyway,
listen, just for this video.
Listen, I live in Ken 7 stuff. You know I do. So for me to have a day off, one day off. Lovely stuff. Thank you very much. Thanks for everyone who's watched and commented. And if you watch us on YouTube, give us a subscribe, and we will see you on there for more content. And
Gav, if people like it, then we can do more. No, it's. I really enjoyed that. Good, because we do this anyway. Have a chat after it. So
nice one. Okay. Cheers, Paul.
See you, mate. Bye.